Let's talk about what you're going to use this funding for. You told our Bloomberg News colleague, Dina Shanker, that you plan to spend it on distribution, on new products. Give us a little bit more color about what you have planned.
Yeah, I mean, what's nice about this funding round is we were full year profitable last year. And so this is actually the first time raising equity for the business that we technically don't require the capital to operate. So this actually kind of goes into our war chest, and we will use it for hiring. We'll use it for expanded distribution. We're adding about 120 points of convenience store distribution. We're in over 12,000 Starbucks now. We'll be expanding in club and against our base in conventional. So all of that needs support. We also have a refrigerated line and a shelf-stable line, which have different ingredient panels in them. And so both of those kind of territories in the store continue to need to be supported and built out. And between that, some marketing and some partnership activations, we'll have our hands full and we'll be able to put our budget to good use.
I mean, you've had such incredible milestones, Ben, $1 billion valuation and, putting out this beverage with, not just probiotics, but fiber in it, which people find really hard to get in their diets. And then, Coke and Pepsi get into the market. Right. What's it like going up against, like, the most storied brands in the entire world?
Yeah, I mean, I have to be honest with you. It's kind of an honor. I've been working, I had the idea for this category back in 2010. We had a first kind of go at it and exited that in 2016. Ollipop came into the scene in late 2018. So for an idea that I, effectively had in my head in a lab 15 years ago to have grown to the point where the largest beverage brands in human history have decided that it's a mainstream opportunity where they can seek growth for themselves. It's an incredible honor, and it's also I think it's a clear demarcation that this is officially a mainstream category. I think that the market in general has looked at the extremely rapid growth. I mean, we're in nearly 1 in 5 households. The category itself is in nearly 1 in 3 households right now. But there's been a little bit of wait and see from some of the big players and from the market of what's the ceiling on this category actually look like. And I think it's just grown to the point, and I think the entry by Coke and Pepsi are signals that the ceiling's extraordinarily high. And if you think about the fact that it's got a U.S. TAM of $60+ billion, 98% household penetration, that could represent a very seriously scaled business.
Ben, it's still more competition in a space where you already have a lot of competition. You think of Poppy, for example, exceeded $500 million in sales last year. And what we understand from our reporting about you guys, too, you guys fell just short of that level that you had been trying to reach. What do you feel like you have to do to compete in this market right now? Are there any changes you're going to be making?
Well, the only thing I'll say about that is that gross revenues and net revenues are obviously, you can have different gross revenues, but actually rather similar net revenues. And, what we're trying to do is build out a balanced P&L structure so that we're still growing at triple digits, which I'm very, very happy with. But we've also got robust PCM and EBITDA that we're building into something that gives us a lot of optionality long term. There's a lot that we can do to continue to break out. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities on the marketing side. I mean, our awareness grew 9% just in January alone. And obviously there's been some positive consumer activity recently that's generated a lot of buzz and eyeballs. But, we've got a lot of leverage still left in kind of our mission. We just completed a human clinical trial looking at blood sugar stability. I'm really, really happy with the outputs from that. We'll have lots to communicate about that. We're going to another human trial. We'll be studying blood sugar, A1C, and digestive health outputs for 250 diabetic patients. And so, we have a real product that's built on high quality, premium functional ingredients.
Right.
But we still have a fantastic base for distribution and a lot of marketing firepower. So, look, in the functional soda category, we have the top household penetration. Over the last 12 weeks, we were the number one dollar and unit contributor domestically for all non-alcoholic beverage. So I'm feeling great about where we're at.
Right.
I definitely don't have any complaints, and there's a lot of opportunity to go chase down.
Well, let's talk about the future of Ollipop, because you also told Bloomberg News that this will be the company's last round of funding. You haven't determined if your goal is an IPO or a sale to a larger company. So I won't ask you what your decision is. I don't think you've yet changed your mind, but talk us through sort of the different factors you're considering when you're thinking about those two options.
Yeah, look, I mean, we're truly a mission-based company. We're always going to be considering impact first. I'm really mindful. I say this to my team all the time, like, money's exciting, but if we sell or IPO and whatever, and 10 years from now, Ollipop's not still around providing real value to customers, I'll have considered that a loss. So wherever we end up, it's got to be the place that we feel in a genuinely pragmatic way delivers the most value for consumers over the long term. Now, one of the reasons why JP Morgan was a great partner for us in this funding round, first of all, they are highly mission aligned. So the fact that we're a very mission driven organization was a huge selling point to them. They feel that's not only the right thing to do to invest in mission-driven businesses, but also feel that they provide better returns over the long term. But they were also really excited about our optionality, and they add a lot of extra firepower to our optionality as we look out over the next 1 to 2 years. Right now, my biggest concern is let's get to $1 billion in gross revenue while continuing to expand EBITDA and continuing to increase accessibility for consumers and expand distribution. I'm pretty confident that if we can make that happen, that whatever the liquidity outcome is, I don't want to say it'll take care of itself. It's definitely something you have to invest in consciously, but it'll make that pathway a lot easier.